Alright guys, today we are headed to Banks Lake. Joe and I both have never fished it this early in the year, except for what, maybe one time? Maybe one time. I think last year we came out, I don't even think we caught any fish, and if we did, they were really small. But it's February 8th. We're headed towards spring, but there's a lot of movement that's going to be happening between now and then. So
I know I've got quite a few years of experience on it. Dan's had a few trips out there. Neither of us really focus on this lake much. It's not known for size, it's not known for big bags, it's not really the stuff we go after, but it is a lake that does thaw early if it freezes at all. So what you can tend to do is get out there, get the gears moving, kind of figure out your tackle, make sure things are dialed, and we just decided it'd be a fun place to go, maybe start the year here, maybe get some content for you guys to see, and maybe teach you a few things.
we don't know exactly what water temps are. It is supposed to be a little windy today, and if you've ever been on Banks Lake in the wind, it can be atrocious. It can break bones, it can break things on your boat. Lots of different things, but just going into it, and with our experience on other lakes, we're gonna focus on probably a few different techniques. We're gonna go, what, drop shot, tubes, and then blade baits. But that's gonna be like the foundation or the starting point, and we're gonna have to figure out, depending on water temp, how deep we start fishing. But that's just to give you guys a lay of the land. Right now it's about 30 degrees, so it's below freezing. The roads, we're actually driving pretty slow right now because the roads are icy in some spots, and so it's no joke. You got to stay safe, take your time, and you know, it is going to get up to about 40 degrees today. Yeah. So we're going to turn this around, we're going to hit it on the water, and you guys can follow along.
Where is that? I got it.
Whoa! It's a really nice smallmouth for this time of the year. It's over 3. It's like 3.5. You can see right here. You guys know it. You guys know that bait, the north-sided blade bait. This is a sexy shad. OG hooks. I didn't even switch hooks out because I figured I was going to lose about 20 of these guys today, and I didn't want to lose my mustads or the owners right away, but it's a really nice fish. Yeah, beautiful.
Yep, that's a good one. What is that? Fish cast with tube. Started dragging it. Good though.
Oh.
Is that?
That's a walleye.
Big walleye. Good walleye. I mean, that's not the ideal way to start the year, but I mean, I'll take a walleye. Another stick or something.
Little guy, little 2-pounder. Let him go. So like, just straight reaction. I've been keeping the line tight on the way down. That's not what.
Yeah, exactly that. That was perfect.
Exactly like that, Joe.
Not a bad one.
Was it a good one?
Not bad. Whew, another one on the blade, first one of the year. Not mad at it.
Look at her. Look how light she is. It's really, really light. She's got those red eyes. Nice fat, healthy fish. All right guys, so right now water temps are about 36, 37. And what we're doing is we're using a 5/8 north-sided blade bait. Very, very similar to the way that we fished them before. They're both 5/8 ounce, and Joe's using the kokanee color. I've got on north-sided's sexy shad color. And essentially what we're doing is we've got braided mainline, we've got fluorocarbon leader, and you know, we're sitting them, we're dropping them down, popping them pretty aggressively. But this is really honestly my first time fishing north-sided's bait with the stock hooks and everything. So far it seems to be doing pretty well, so we'll keep an eye on that. But with that water temp and the bait choice, so far we're on track as far as expectations go, and you know, using the techniques that we thought we were going to be able to catch them on.
Took my jig off.
I guess that it's enticing enough. Oh yeah, that's a better one. Yeah.
Be careful.
That's a nice fish, bro.
Oh, there was one underneath him too. He's just strong, brother. He's just
Oof, look at that. That's gnarly. Just to see the spin on this fish, man. It's like the tissue is gone. So it's just a straight bone. I mean, it's like the Terminator. So we decided to jump off the water. Banks Lake, we had about 12 to 15 mile/hour winds coming in. Normally not a big deal, but on banks, especially around that intersection of Steamboat Rock and that opening, it can get pretty bad. We caught more fish than we expected. Water temps ended up being 37.
38 in some areas, but not where they were biting.
Yeah. As far as baits go, seemed like the smallmouth certainly caught him on blade baits, being pretty aggressive.
It became a reaction bite. I wasn't expecting that. We've had kind of a colder week. We did get a snowstorm on Tuesday, I want to say. It is Saturday now. Dan kind of keyed into something early with the blade bait that we didn't expect. Moved areas, didn't catch anything, moved back, got real aggressive with it, and then the pattern started coming together.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that they're still obviously in that winter pattern because they were grouped.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the first fish that you guys saw was the best fish of the day, which went just about, it was about 4 pounds. Didn't really look like it, but the fish was super heavy. And we ended up catching quite a few more smallmouth, but they were all generally around that same area. So I think that winter pattern still holds true for the smallmouth.
Yeah, definitely we're not in a feeding mode. You had to agitate them to get them to strike. The walleye, however, on a great 2 bite.
Yeah. we did not expect that. We actually, thinking back, we were like, man, we should have kept those 2 walleye because they were like perfect eating size, but we didn't know if we were going to catch any more, so we ended up throwing them back. But both of Joe's walleye were caught on a tube, and they seemed to smack them pretty good.
Yeah, was throwing a 1/2 ounce tube jig in there. Throw a little scent in, it helps you slide the jig head in, plus it gives them something to track it down if it is getting chalky on the water on the bottom too. Low and slow on the bottom. You notice a hard smack versus what a lot of the smallmouth bites right now are going to be, which is just a tension bite.
Yeah, I think for the blade baits, the biggest thing for anyone that's going to be going out right now is noticing that they're biting a certain way. They're not feeding. It's a reaction bite. Right. So if you fish crankbaits in the spring and you hook up on some smallies because you're burning that crankbait, the blade bait is the exact same. It just has a different action. It's just ripping up from the bottom in comparison to a crankbait that's actually dredging and making contact along the way. And
you'll notice on the video, a lot of the catches came fishing vertically. It's not like you're at the end of a cast. Mine on the blade bait was. A lot of his were not. He was sitting there, multiple lifts right at the boat. It's almost agitating them into biting. They don't have hands. They can't smack it to make it stop. They're going to use their mouth.
Yep. So for gear today, I was using the wrench. 20-pound Seagar braided mainland. I got that new neon green, which there'll be some links down below for you guys to check this stuff out. And then a Norasada blade bait, which was a 5/8 ounce sexy shad. And what was your setup?
Mine was same rod, wrench. I was using 15-pound Suffix 832. It's just something I like. I don't have any preference on braid. Just pick a good braid between 15 and 20 pound, 8-pound InvisX leader. I was using the Kokanee 5/8 ounce Norasada. I don't really feel like color was a huge factor, but as long as it looks like a bait fish, it's gonna get bit. If you're around them, they'll eat.
Yep. I think a lot of guys around our area, of course, they choose the perch blade because Norasada's perch patterns are great, but if you don't have Norasadas locally, obviously Tackle Warehouse and some of the other online retailers, if you're at BTS, you can get Norasadas. But if you're like, I'd say out of California and you're trying blade baiting, or maybe even back east and you don't have Norasada blade baits, hop on to the blade bait page at Tackle Warehouse. There's quite a few brands that are really, really great.
A couple that are going to be great that are not Norasadas are the Binksy. That one kills it. There is I think it's the Head and Sonar. Yep. That's another really good one. Demiki makes another solid one that comes in some springtime colors that might be a bigger factor where you're at.
Ultimately, like I said, I think we beat our expectation today. Probably close to 10 smallmouth, a couple of walleye, and you know what? It was cold, but it was still a beautiful day, and it looks like right now we're up to about 40 degrees, so
which is warm for us.
It's pretty warm for February. But if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. The YouTube description, Joe and I will get back to you guys. Hopefully this helps you guys narrow down some late winter fishing and you know, dialing in that technique or those bites. And yeah, we're gonna see you guys on the next video.
Absolutely.
See you guys.